Chiefs Kingdom. It's Wednesday. It's 7 o'clock. That means it's time for Chiefs Kingdom Live.
Yeah.
Bo, Nick, how you guys doing?
Doing great, man. Doing great.
How are you, Scott?
Good. I'm doing well. If this is your first time tuning in, or if you're a regular visitor and you haven't subscribed and hit that like yet, do that now. We announced on the Twitter that we are going to do a Travis Kelce, the man that's right over my shoulder back there. Travis Kelce prize pack giveaway. So he's 2 games away from breaking Rob Gronkowski's all-time 100-yard receiving games record by a tight end. 1 to tie, 2 to be in sole possession. So what we're going to do is we're going to give away a Travis Kelce prize pack, kind of like the Mahomes prize pack we did for 1,500 followers on Twitter when he sets that record. So you've got some time, but don't delay. Don't dilly-dally around and forget, because when he hits that record, we're going to pick a winner, and it's going to be someone who's following us when it happens. It's not, you can't, sneak in past the buzzer, past the bell there. So,
hello, Laney.
What's up, Laney? Good to see you. John? Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, John, but I'm downstairs and I don't have the tall ceilings down here quite as tall like I do upstairs. So
when you live in a mansion, you get an echo.
What's that?
So when you live in a mansion, you get an echo.
Yeah, when you live in a mansion, you get an echo. Yeah, my mansion, that's it. So not quite as tall ceilings down here in the lounge. So, but glad you could tune in, John. Appreciate it. Good to see you.
Yep.
Yeah. So when Kelce sets the record, we're gonna pick a winner, and this is gonna be. I mean, if you're watching right now, you're probably subscribed, but if not, make sure you subscribe now, because this is going to be a very winnable contest. We're right now just under 150 subs, so your odds of
150, not bad.
Your odds of being a winner are going to be pretty good. Even if we got like 100 subs between now and then, 1 and 250 is still pretty damn good. But
that Mahomes prize pack was really cool too, man. I'm excited to see what we get for the Travis Kelce one, man. I might have to send some extra money, have you pick me up some Travis Kelce swag too.
Get you some socks, some Kelce socks. So
yep.
Yeah. So subscribe. We appreciate it. Helps grow the channel. If we could get bigger and maybe get some money rolling off this thing, we could do more giveaways, hook Chiefs Kingdom up a little bit more. So we'd appreciate it. Coming off a big win. We're going to talk about that this week. We'll talk about, with no game coming up this weekend, we'll talk about some other Chiefs news. We'll talk about Juju's contract. There's been some discussion about whether the Chiefs should extend him right now or not. The Frank Clark suspension. And we'll get to this week's CKL poll about the remaining schedule, what we think it looks like, how it's shaping up for the Chiefs as they go into the bye week. So thanks again for watching. Thanks again for tuning in. If you want to be part of the show, send us a comment. We really appreciate it. It makes it a lot more fun when we get a lively chat going on. We got John in here. We got Carol. We got Laney. I think Big Doug's probably watching. There's Carol. Hey, what's up, Carol? Good to see you. Thanks for watching.
Hey-o.
Let's just recap this win over the 49ers. I'd like to know. We'll get into more detail here in a second, but we'll go to you first, Bo. General thoughts about the game.
The more I've thought about this game, the more I still stand by. I loved what our defense did. Minus, that 10-point give up that they did right at the beginning. After that, they really held the 49ers, the number 1 defense, to 13 points. And so, I know we gave up a lot of yards. We had really fortunate turnovers go our way. So, I mean, that definitely helps to that being the case. But I'm super stoked with what our defense did in this game. Can't say enough good things about our offense as well. I love that Patrick's still continuing to spread it out to all of his receivers. I'm loving that the receiving core is looking stronger, and they're talking about playing Call of Duty together and getting that team chemistry up. I'm loving everything that's coming out of this game. So how about you, Nick?
Yeah, I was really excited to see the chemistry with the wide receivers, right? Get better. It's I'm with John F here. He's saying let's signed 2 more wide receivers with hyphenated last names. That was the first time that I remember with this new crew where, it was like we were in some crucial situations and we really just saw the wide receivers. It's always Travis Kelce, right? It's one of the running backs. And then this was the first game that with this new group where it was like, okay, like Juju got it, right? Or okay, like MVS got it. And it was really cool to see that, come to fruition. Patrick Mahomes right now is leading the league in passing yards. I know that Allen had a bye week. He'll more than likely, take over number 1. But there's not a Chiefs receiver that's in the top 5 in receiving yards. So it's pretty incredible to be leading the league in passing and not have a top 5 receiver, right? And it just goes to show that we really have added some depth here, and it was really good to see that just really come out in full force and just kick the shit out of the 49ers. So.
What about you, Scott? What's your general takeaway from the game?
It kind of was reminiscent of the Super Bowl. Like we started out, I know the Super Bowl, we had we were down later in the game, but they come out and get a 10-point lead. And then next thing you know, Chiefs are going into halftime back in the lead. And then it was all Chiefs second half.
Oh, yeah.
They got it going. The defense, they were a little bit more bend and don't break than I would like, but they got stops. They held the 49ers to field goals when they got down in the red zone. When they got down, they were around the 20, the 10. I think one of the field goals was a little bit longer, so that wasn't like a red zone hold. But still, if the defense can keep teams out of the end zone, the Chiefs are going to be really, really hard to beat.
Right.
And you saw that, especially with Nick. You talked about the passing game and Mahomes leading the league. It's just been a very good mix of tight ends, wide receivers, and running backs catching the ball so far this year. John made the comment about hyphenated last names. Is that a record out there? The Chiefs got Edwards-Helaire, Valdez-Scantling, and Smith-Schuster. Has there ever been a team with 4 hyphenated last name players on the roster? I don't have any idea or way of knowing how you would look something like that up. But, yeah, that is kind of a funny coincidence that those guys all got the 2 last names going there. But, yeah, so after a shaky start, the Chiefs just really put their foot down. And if they don't take away a touchdown right before the half, it's not even as close. It was 14-13 at half. It should have been 21-13. So, and I know Bo, that really bummed him out with his 50 burger. He was looking forward to that. So
there's some people that almost got some free burgers there.
Oh yeah. I'll hold up to my word. Anybody that commented burgers on that podcast, I'll buy them a burger. In fact, they go back and find that episode and they comment on that episode burgers. I'll buy whoever can do that. Whoever does that now, go back and find a little Easter egg there for you.
Sounds good. I don't even remember what video that was. So you'll just have to go back and watch them all.
Exactly.
Yeah. Looks like we got our man Jay in here. Good to see you, Jay. Thanks for joining us, man. I like that shirt. That's a good looking shirt. Kind of clean and simple, man. Black with the big old arrowhead on the front of it. It's looking dope. So yeah, my 30,000 foot view of the game was kind of reminiscent of a lot of the Chiefs games. They get down, and then for whatever reason it is that seems to motivate them. Chris Jones talked about that. Says like we just seemed like we play better when we're down, which I don't know if that's a solid game plan or if that's always a recipe for success. But there was a stat floating around the web and on the talking head shows this week about Patrick Mahomes' winning percentage career when being down 10 points or more in a game was almost like 600. It was like 592 or 591. The next closest player was Tom Brady at like 24%, and the league average was 7. I mean, the guy, it's just unbelievable. The way that they come back, and it speaks to leadership and resiliency, but also just it speaks to just how much of a badass Patrick Mahomes is, bro. That dude he's unreal to watch.
Yeah.
Especially, we'll start breaking down. Let's get into a little bit more detailed kind of as the game went along there. He had all day back there in the pocket.
Dude, it was so refreshing to see that O-line do everything that Joe Valerio had talked about. Work together, you know what I mean? Call out the right blitzes, have the right blocking scheme drawn up for the right play. Nobody's really getting confused. It was really refreshing to see that O-line step up and give Patrick all day.
Before we move away from the topic you were just talking about, though, I want to show this. This is a tweet that I found, right? So Patrick Mahomes, he's 13-9 when his team trails by 10 plus points. If you take all the starting time when he's been down 10, it's 13.6 games worth of playing time. And that time he's had 5,670 yards passing, 53 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 112 rating, 462 rush yards, and 2 rushing TDs. And that's in less than 14 games worth of time.
Right.
Yeah. Just ridiculous, right?
That's coming up clutch when you're behind, right? So I saw that and I was just like, imagine if that was a whole season's worth of games. You'd like shatter every record.
Yeah, he's on pace too, man. He's crushing all the records. They're getting rid of all the caveats and he's starting to become like all time. You know what I mean? He's coming on pace with all time records instead of like modern era or everything like that. Dude is so good.
Right. Yeah, it's good like that. It's not even the right way. Like, he's better than good. He's better than great. The dude's just unbelievable. He's the best in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I know some of these other guys. Lamar Jackson had a flash there for the first couple weeks, and everybody's saying, "Is he the MVP?" And it seems like every time a quarterback has a couple of good games, has he caught Mahomes yet? But there's no one catching Mahomes. The dude's unbelievable. There's other stats going around. He's tied for the most wins in his first 70 starts in the Super Bowl era. Most touchdown passes, most yards. The dude's he's number one in every statistic that matters. Passer rating. He's averaging over 300 yards passing per game for his career. That's not like dude, that's not night games played in the central time zone against opponents from the NFC West. You don't have to add a bunch of qualifiers to that statistic to get to 300 yards passing. 305 per game for a career, which at 70 games is no small sample size itself. So, yeah, dude's unbelievable. He had all day back there.
Yeah.
I'd like to get your thoughts about the offensive line really showed up and showed out in the Tampa Bay game against a good Tampa Bay front seven. The 49ers, you could say they had some guys missing, and Bosa was coming back from injury. Maybe he wasn't 100%. But everybody had been talking about this 49ers defense as maybe one of the best of all time, and it started up front with their front seven and their pass rush. Yeah. It was non-existent. But then you have games like Arizona week 1 or the Bills game, which Bills have a good front seven too. So maybe that's has something a little bit more to do with that. But and like the Raiders game where he was just under duress the whole game. What's up with the offensive line? Having these dominant performances and then having these just forgettable bad performances. Well, I mean, what you think? It's just they're still taking time to get on the same page. You think we need better personnel, Nick?
I think some of it's the teams that are having success against us, rushing the passer, are teams that we've played a lot in the last few years. So I think they have a little bit more familiarity with what we do, right? Tampa Bay and San Francisco, we don't play them once every 4 years. You know, you look at the Raiders and the Chargers, we play them twice a year. You look at the Bills, we've played them, 4 times in the last 2 years, right? So
yeah, it's like a new rivalry now with that team.
Yeah, so I just think that some of these teams are, they're more familiar. And then also, I mean, I don't know. I know Bosa was coming back from injury. I mean, but you can't argue with the level of talent on Tampa Bay or 49ers is being lower than the Bills or, the Raiders or the Chargers. So that's the only thing that I can think of is that we've just played them, and I think it's easier. That's why division games are always tougher, right? Because like the teams, like they play you so often, they're not always as scared of you. So
I think I definitely think it's that. And I also think it's still just week 7, man. Like there's still a lot of kinks to kind of work out, you know what I mean? And we're seeing it as it's happening real time. I mean, if we look at our offensive line last year, I mean, we were kind of like in a worse position than we are this year. I kind of felt like Patrick was under duress last year all the time. I mean, he was. We were 3-4 at this point last year. You know what I mean? So I mean, they got those new guys in. I think it just takes some time to develop that chemistry, like Joe was talking about, making sure you're like, dude. I mean, you're how big are those guys? 350 pounds, 6'6", you know, and they have to like lock hips and do like essentially like an eloquent dance. Like it's going to take some timing and maneuvering to get that. So.
Yeah, maybe you're right, Jay. Maybe they need to get on some Warzone, the offensive line, because it seemed to work. Juju Smith-Schuster talked about that after the game. Said that him and Patrick and McColl and maybe some of the other guys, Travis got on Warzone Friday night, and I wonder if the people that were playing them knew who they were playing. Like holy shit, I'm playing the Chiefs, like wide receivers and Patrick Mahomes on Call of Duty on Warzone. That'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, I don't
starts
know.
Talking shit to you. Oh, what's up, boy?
Right. It's just weird that it's so up and down. It's like bad game, good game, bad game, good game, bad game, good game.
Right.
Maybe they can tighten it up and have more of these dominant, better performances as the season progresses and they get used to playing with one another. Maybe some guys get healthy with the bye week. I know there's been some rumors swirling that maybe Orlando Brown Jr. is dealing with a slight knee issue. We know Trey Smith had an ankle and a foot issue. They're going through a stretch of games.
Yep.
Maybe that has something to do with it too. Guys are nursing and just trying to get out there and aren't 100%, which definitely could factor into maybe some of these poorer performances. But it was encouraging that they could do that again, and you just like to see it more often.
It all, like to what you were saying earlier, it also helped that we were playing a banged up 49ers defense. You know what I mean? Like they had their guys in there, but it's hard to tell if they're really 100 ready to go. I remember talking with Joe Valerio last season when Derrick Henry got hurt. We were asking like how quickly will they put somebody back in? He said somewhere around 70% ready to go. They'll throw an ace back in, you know. So somebody like Bosa, I imagine that could be the case.
Yeah, I agree with John about being a work in progress, and you know the best is yet to come for the Chiefs' offensive line. So something to keep an eye on. It's not really the second half of the season. It's a little bit more than half. It's pretty close to halfway. 7 games into 17. Individual performances. Let's just talk about some guys that balled out. Got to start with McCole Hardman, right? The dude was all over, making big catches. The jet sweeps and the touchdowns are obviously going to get the screen time on highlight reels and on TV talk shows. But he made a play there in the first quarter on a drive where he caught a pass down the left-hand side of the field and just got popped. It should have been a penalty because the dude lowered his helmet right into his face mask, helmet-to-helmet hit. It wasn't called. Shocker, I know, for Chiefs Kingdom. But he held on to the ball, and it was a big play, and it moved the sticks, and it really helped the Chiefs get down into scoring position and then finish that drive off himself with a touchdown. First player in the Super Bowl era, wide receiver with 2 rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown. Putting your name in the record books is always a good day.
That doesn't seem like that should be a thing, right? It seems like there should have been somebody who have already done that.
There, Bo. I think I think he's the first wide receiver to do that.
No, I agree, but I understand what that stat is. I'm just saying it seems like with all the caliber of receivers we've seen and the different play calling we've seen throughout the years, that I feel like that should have happened already, but that's crazy.
Yeah, the Chiefs played the 49ers team with a Deebo Samuel, who McCole, there's a lot of people saying he out-Deebo'd Deebo in that game with the runs and the jet sweeps and getting involved and catching passes. Good to see that dude step up. I mean, I've kind of been hard on McCole Hardman. Maybe we had too high of expectations, or maybe I had too high of expectations. Because if you remember going back to when they drafted him, that was when you didn't really know what was going on with Tyreek Hill and the child abuse stuff that was going around and the hit piece that was done by the local TV station that I'm not going to even say the name of on this show. And there was some questions about what's going to happen. We had seen the Chiefs had cut Kareem Hunt previously when being involved in a bad off-the-field altercation situation. So they you almost felt like, I don't want to say desperation, but like an insurance pick in case maybe Tyreek Hill were to miss
Right.
time or maybe just go away. And that ended up obviously not being the case. And so maybe expecting him to be Tyreek Hill is too much. I mean, it is too much. Tyreek Hill's a once in a generation player, talent, speed. But I mean, I like McCole Hardman. The dude seems like a good kid, you know. I mean, he stays out of trouble. He's always got a smile on his face. It looks like he has a fun time out there playing football. Didn't look like he's just a guy out there trying to grab a check or anything. Plays it kind of with that like youthful exuberance, but the productions just hasn't been there. And going into this season, he kind of peaked at the end of last year, if you remember, and going into the playoffs and had some monster games. Then comes out early this year, and I mean, I think he caught a touchdown early against the Cardinals in Week 1, but then kind of, I'm not going to say disappeared, but was kind of back in the shadows, back in the background. McCole Hardman, what do you guys think of him? Is he someone we can kind of count on, or is this a breakout game for him, or do you think this is just kind of the way he's been and who he's going to be? Big performance, big play here and there, but just not consistent. Bo?
Dude, the way everything's shaping up this season, it seems like all these guys are like ready to have a season, right? Like McCole Hardman's 2 overthrown passes from having like already a stellar year. I think he's doing great, man. I love his production. You'd mentioned it earlier. He's catching clutch passes when they matter. We're not having the same woes we did last year of just all these tip balls. I really like what Hardman's bringing to the table. I like his work ethic, like you were saying. His first year, I remember him lighting it up. I was such a huge fan. And then you alluded to it. He just kind of fell off, and you're like, what is this guy? But he never like really did terrible. So it's really good to see him getting all these looks and having games like he's having.
Yeah, Nick, what do you think, McCole Hardman?
First, I'm going to get John's comment in here. His only problem is that his name isn't hyphenated, so he needs to change it to Hardman.
I was going to say, maybe you could hyphenate it hard hyphenation man or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. No, so I echo what you guys are saying, right? He seems like an unselfish player. He seems like somebody that is a couple of maybe missteps from him and Mahomes gelling a little bit from having 5 or 6 touchdowns this year. And, you know, I think that he has been battling like a heel injury, and that's probably impacted his production. So I felt bad for him, right? Because, like, you know, he's been kind of quietly waiting in the wings, and now it was his like time, right? They were like, well, like Mecole is like, if you're going to be the number one, like this is and then he gets hurt, right? So Pat misses him on a couple of throws in the Arizona game, and then he gets hurt. And so I'm hoping that we can see more productivity out of him, but also like kind of like what Patrick said. I mean, there's going to be probably a guy each week that they're going to focus on trying to get the ball to. And, you know, I think Dylan earlier was talking about how this reminded him of Mahomes' first year. You know, that was at the 2018 season in that offense, but with better defense. And I mean, that's similar, right? So, you know, it was just kind of like you just had to pick your poison, and it didn't matter what you're going to do against that offense. Like they were going to score some other way. So, I'm stoked to have him on the team. You know, I'm stoked to see him get some more good plays, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see him maybe, you know, quiet down. I don't think he's going to get, you know, 2 or 3 touchdowns each week, obviously. So.
In that same light, going to a different receiver, do you think Juju is stepping up to the plate and being the W1 role that he was expected to be, Scott?
Who's that?
Juju. Have you liked what he's doing? Like, you think he's stepping up, taking that W1 role?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely been the top wide receiver. I think he's on pace right now for about 1,200 yards and maybe 6 touchdowns, which is pretty good. Kind of like maybe your number one wide receiver to be in that double-digit touchdown range. But you're not going to scoff at 1,200 yards. That's a good season.
Right.
Production's been there. Seems like he's caught fire maybe a little bit too here the last couple of games. I like Jay's comment about McCole Hardman being a 2 or 3. That's hitting the nail right on the head for me.
Yeah, that seems about right.
I think this idea or hope that he could be a number one wide receiver in the league or even on this team, I just don't think that's going to come to fruition. I don't think that's going to happen. But hey, man, if he's your 2 or your 3, and you can count on him to have a few of these explosive games and sprinkle in some big plays, here and there throughout the other games in the season, you can live with that. If you've got a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster, or even like the Cheetah when he was still here, putting the number one wide receiver production numbers up for you. So yeah, that's a good comment by Jay. I think that's exactly where he's at, and be interesting to see. Do you think the Chiefs sign him before we move on to talk about maybe some of these other guys real quick? Do you think Hardman's on the team long term, or do you think maybe he's getting close to the end of his career in Kansas City? Bo?
Ooh, that's tough to say. I mean, I feel like that's going to be really dependent upon the end of this season and if he continues to do what he's doing. If he's reliable, making catches, having great games, I definitely foresee that. But catches up to like years past and he kind of peaks mid-season and doesn't really do anything after the fact, I could see him having a short career here.
Yeah, Nick.
I kind of feel like the opposite. I kind of feel like it's going to see how he does and then what kind of offers he gets from other teams. I mean, the wide receiver market has been kind of bananas right now. That's for the top tier guys. He's not a top tier guy, but I think that if he can, come at the Chiefs with like an affordable rate, I think they're going to keep him. I think he's proven enough over his tenure here to earn a spot on the team. Right. I don't, even if he isn't like, the number one or number two guy, right. He's shown that he has enough speed and I mean, he's tough too. Right. I mean, he's played through some, you could tell he was hurting in a couple of these games where, he caught the ball and he's limping when he gets off the sidelines. And, the coaches see that and they got to appreciate that. So I think you'll probably see him sign a decent contract, but nothing crazy, right? To stay on the team going forward for the next year or two.
Yeah, if he can keep playing like he's been playing this season, I think the thing that keeps him from being a Chief is if somebody comes in like the Jaguars did with the guy from, God, what's his name? I just had it now. I lost it. They paid him a bunch of money this offseason, and you kind of helped set the market for wide receiver. God darn, what's that guy's name? No. The Jaguars signed him. He was from Arizona, and he was just kind of like a guy.
Kirk.
Yeah, Christian
right?
Kirk.
Yeah.
Just out of nowhere gets a big – I could see maybe a team looking at a guy like Hardman and saying, let's go get that guy and make him our Deebo Samuel. Let's go out there and pay him, and we can utilize his skill set maybe a little bit better than the Chiefs have. So if someone comes in and shoots him, blows us out of the water with like wide receiver one money, I don't see him staying. But
if that jet sweep works like it's been working, I could see him staying though. Like I think he's the fastest receiver we have right now.
Right. Yeah, another player obviously had a big game was MVS. 111 yards on 3 catches. He's been a little bit up and down himself this season. He's flashed at times, had big plays, big catches, but he's also had some plays where he dropped passes on third downs. And I'm still pinning that interception against the Bills last week on MVS. I think he should have caught that ball, but people would argue that, and I would be open to listening to someone not blame him solely for the interception. But he's a guy that was kind of his MO coming out of Green Bay, a guy that has speed, can make you big plays, have a big game or two where he has 120 yards or 111 yards on 2 or 3 catches with a big average, but also kind of has a cape, drop-itis and maybe a little butterfingers at times. Maybe not the most reliable guy. Big game for him.
You think he's going to be more comfortable here, though, being, second wide receiver to Juju instead of second wide receiver to Devontae, though? Like, I feel like that takes a lot of pressure off the shoulders, and we've seen him make more catches this year than we saw him make in Green Bay's.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like Devontae being a number one, I don't think anybody's going to say that Juju's on the level top-tier wide receiver that Devontae Adams is. It almost seems that'd make it easier. Teams are going to have to focus more on a guy like Devontae than a Juju, which gives you more opportunity to get open and get better looks. But, I think MVS, I think what you're seeing from him this year is what he's been and kind of what he's going to be, a guy that is going to be kind of like boom or bust. Big plays, but also drops. I think his percentage, like catch rate when targeted, is right around 50, which is not very good at all. Nick, MVS, encouraged this? Are you not as excited as everybody else is? He's been getting a lot of like rep, and I know it's social media, and there's a lot of fanboys and people out there that guy has one big game, and all of a sudden he's going to be the next Tyreek Hill. But what do you think about MVS's performance, and what do you think about him this season?
I agree with what Jay has said here, right? That he seems like he's really good at the more spectacular plays, but then some of the more routine stuff, he's seen it go right through his hands. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic, right, about what he's going to bring to the team. You can't knock a guy that got behind the defense on a 3rd and long and caught a 50-yard pass. So obviously, people are going to be excited about him after that. Especially when it's up against our corner that we let go, right? As Charvarius Ward, I think, right? So
I think that was his name. Yeah.
His name was Charvarius Ward. No,
but, he goes by Mooney Ward now for some reason. I've learned that watching some of the 49ers content.
He goes by what?
He goes by Mooney Ward. I guess you don't like Charvarius Ward, so I never heard that while he was here with the Chiefs, but now that he's in San Francisco, that's because they kept saying Mooney Ward, and I was like, do they have 2 guys the last name Ward? And then someone called him Charvarius on a 49ers show that I watched.
You should be going by Toast because he got burnt on that play last week.
Yeah. I don't know that he was 100%. He had a groin injury the week before. I felt like, just because getting off topic a little bit, but I kind of felt like the 49ers maybe had their eye on this game. Kyle Shanahan, the coach, with the Super Bowl kind of blown lead embarrassment a couple of years ago, maybe wanted this one a little bit more than some of the others. And maybe they brought some guys back that weren't quite ready. I don't know. I don't really remember seeing Charvarius Ward get let a lot of guys get behind him like MVS did on that play. But it was a big play. 50 yards on 3rd and 11, and it was a point in the game where the Chiefs were really starting to ice it, right?
Yeah. But back to MVS just quickly. I mean, the guy's 28. He kind of is what he is at this point, I think, right? I think that he's going to be a good player, but I think that he's going to have some drops and stuff that are going to be head scratchers that are going to leave fans and the team somewhat frustrated at times. I don't think you're going to see some massive leap at this point in his career where he's going to change that. So quick, what's up to Zach? He was talking about Hardman, but glad you're on, Zach. It's good to see you, buddy. Hardman too injury prone to be a wide receiver number 1. Yeah, he is kind of like a smaller dude, right? He's not like a big, tough, rough and tumble guy. So.
Yeah, good to see you, Zach. Thanks for tuning in, bro. Appreciate it. Laney, yeah, you know he wanted it. It seems like it's a given around the NFL, or maybe it's just fans that Shanahan's some like top tier coach, and I don't know that he's really shown that. I don't know. I guess he coached them to a Super Bowl, and he was in the NFC Championship game last year. Well, that was a weird. They were 3-4 last year and kind of got hot, and Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay choked in the playoffs to let them get into that NFC Championship game. But MVS to me, he's a guy that I would like to see the Chiefs try to improve on if he's going to be your number 2 wide receiver. Maybe McCole can take that spot from him as the year goes on. So, but for now, if he can make a big play here or there, to me, it's just like the drops on 3rd down kill you more than like the one big play that you have here and there, right? Like that's what they say, like about the great ones. They make all the plays you're supposed to, and not necessarily have the big flash plays. So we'll see what he does the rest of the year. Juju Smith-Schuster, 2nd game in a row with 100 yards and a touchdown. He had a big play there. What was that, about a 45-yard touchdown there late in the game that we talked about when the Chiefs were kind of putting that game on ice. That really put the game on ice there for the offense. What did you guys see out of Juju? It looks like people are saying that he'd really like if the defense goes to zone. That's really more where that guy lives, and he can kind of eat that zone. There was some content about there with him working with Kelsey, exploiting coverages or whatnot. Juju, you think he's taken off? You think we can expect this to keep that pace the rest of the year? Bo?
How old is Juju?
20,
25, I think.
25, 26, somewhere in there.
Okay. Dude, I'm loving the confidence he's getting playing with Patrick Mahomes, man. You can kind of see it every day build up a little bit more and more. To address both of your guys' points, he's one of those receivers that is capable of making the big play and is also coming through in the clutch on your average plays where you need him to. Loving what he brings to this team. I love that. Like, I love that Call of Duty thing, dude. I love that he got on the presser and he was so excited to explain to the press like what he was doing in the game with these guys. Like, we were over there yelling at each other. It was so great. I love the chemistry that they're doing. Like I said, I can't say enough good things about the offense and our receiving core right now.
Right. Yeah, if I was playing Warzone with Patrick Mahomes, I wouldn't shut up about it for the rest of my life. So yeah, I get being excited and wanting to talk about it. Nick, Juju, is he taking off? Is he getting comfortable? What are you seeing from him? What are you thinking, expecting the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think you're gonna see. I mean, I don't know that you're gonna see 100+ yards every game, but I think you're gonna see him get a lot of targets. I mean, he's coming up and he's coming up big in big situations, and he's building that trust with Patrick, where Patrick is looking for him in those situations now, right? As where before it was like Tyreek and Kelsey, you saw kind of at the start of this year. I think he was like looking for Kelsey, right? I mean, he's just looking for Kelsey in that situation. Is where is he and is he open? And now I think you're seeing that he's getting like Patrick's getting comfortable with a couple more options, and Juju's able to catch the ball. He's a big dude, and he's almost looks like a tight end out there, right? And like he can catch the ball and he can take contact and keep going, and he's also quick enough that he can score. I mean, he's had a couple of really nice plays the last couple of weeks, so we just got to keep seeing it. But I do think you're going to see this relationship grow, and that's why you see a lot of the Chiefs Kingdom out there saying like we need to lock this guy up, get him under contract. Because they're worried about his price just going through the roof, and maybe we can't afford him because Patrick makes him look so good. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, would you? I guess it depends on how much money you got to give him. He's kind of come in on a 1-year prove it deal to try to get a big payday. I don't know with the Chiefs cap and what they got going for. I know Chris Jones is going to be looking at extension at some point.
mm-hmm.
John, yeah, really liking Juju. And if you're taller to Marcus Robinson, yeah, that's a good comp. That's a good comparison. Kind of like a role guy that you can hopefully count on to make some big plays here and there. Would you lock up Juju right now? Do you need to see a little bit more?
To me, like it depends on what the price is, right? I think that if anything, what Patrick Mahomes has proven this year, which everybody said he wasn't going to be able to do, is that if you get him somebody that is competent, that he can get them the ball and like he can get a ton of yards and he can make plays, right? If you get Patrick time and you get him somebody that can catch the damn ball, then he's gonna eat up these defenses. So if Juju's like his stock goes way up and he's the people are wanting to give him $20 million a year, you could probably go find like the next Juju that another team's willing to let go that we can pick up for half of that money. And we got Sky Moore who's still developing, which I know he muffed a punt. Let's not put him in punt coverage anymore, but like he's developing. So I don't know. I think it just really it's like, is the price right? And does Juju want to stay here, right? And does he want to make it work with the team? So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I don't know what you guys think.
What kind of year do you think you'd have to command like more than $5 million? What was his? What did we give him for 1 year? Was it like 3.5 or something?
Yeah, he's not making much right now. Somewhere in there, 3.5 million, 4 million. I think if he goes out and has, if he continues on the trajectory he's on now, 12 or 1,300 yards, and gets into that 6, 8, even maybe 10 touchdown range, you might be looking at what? I mean, what did Tyreek get? 30? He gets 15. If he wants 15, he wants 18 million a year. I mean, that's 1,208 is that's upper. I mean, that's not average wide receiver production. That's not Byron Pringle money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
gonna have to get the checkbook out. It's just one of those things where maybe if you sign him now, but if I'm Juju, I'm not signing anything until the end of the year. If I'm him personally. Now, maybe he really likes playing here. He's talked about being a team first guy and he doesn't care about stats and he just wants to win. If all that's true, I mean, where else are you going to go with a quarterback and a chance to win and a team and an offense and a play caller and designer like Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs? Let's say it costs anywhere from that 10 to 15 million a year. Are you signing that deal right now, Bo?
I mean, that's a tough one, right? We do need weapons. I love a good weapon that Patrick's confident in. It's just interesting. Like I'm so unfamiliar with our cap space right now. I have no idea how they've been manipulating all these numbers and how we can afford the guys we actually do have. And I guess there's an extra 4.5 still just lying around somewhere for somebody else to maybe pick up this year. Who knows what they're thinking, if they're going to pick up another receiver or running back. Just got to wait and see on that one. So, I mean, I know I don't sign a deal. Yeah, I agree with like waiting till the end of the year to sign a deal for both parties, both the team and Juju.
Yeah, Nick. I mean, let's say Juju's agent says Juju will sign for 15 million per year for 4 years. You signing that or no?
I don't know. I mean, I feel comfortable closer to 10, but
yeah.
Again, I mean, it depends on what like Bo says, what's our cap look like. Now, I do know that Mahomes' contract is structured to where they can essentially convert up to all of it to signing bonus, and then they spread that out over 5 years. So I don't know that it's necessarily a question of like if they can make it happen. It's just how much do they want to mortgage the future of that team, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I said, I'm happy he's doing well, but I do think that like I lived in Denver, unfortunately, when Peyton Manning came to town, and all everybody talked about was like how like the Broncos didn't have shit for wide receivers, and then like instantly Peyton Manning's there, and like they have like best receivers in the league, right?
Right. Demarius Thomas looks like freaking
Yeah.
Jerry Rice out there.
Who's the dude that went to the Jets? Decker, right? Like Eric Decker.
Eric
like
Decker.
these
Yeah.
guys, like didn't do shit after they went to other teams, and so I mean it's really like I think that as long as we can get a competent guy, like I don't think we have to overspend, just because we have a dude at quarterback. And I like what Zach said, where he said, like a stacked line is far more important, right? It protects Mahomes and it gives him time. And if you give him time, like he's gonna get the ball to somebody. Somebody's gonna come open if you can get him enough time. And he's a magician back there, where he can even extend the play. So I'm stoked for it, but I don't know that we should overspend on Juju is what I'm saying.
I agree with all of that. The only counter I would say to like stacking the line is like you see what happens at Green Bay when you start paying your linemen the top lineman money and you have to get rid of your best receivers, and now Green Bay can't do anything, even though Aaron Rodgers has all the time in the world. So
yeah.
But no, I definitely agree with everything else you said. I was just playing devil's advocate there with that.
Yeah, sure, right. I just think that, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is great, but I think he's past his prime, right? Like we're in his prime. I don't think Aaron Rodgers would be struggling as badly as he is right now. Maybe I'm wrong, but and the Packers team is a whole different deal. Like their GM and that situation,
for sure.
They don't seem like they know what the fuck they're doing half the time. Like that. I mean, why they drafted a quarterback in the first round a few years back, like instead of getting like a wide receiver. So I would like to see them, the Chiefs, just get decent people, but at a cheaper price. I think that's where we need to be for the next 5 to 7 years with Mahomes.
Yeah, Dylan's got a comment in here. Good to see you, Dylan. Thanks for joining in, man. That's a nice fish, by the way. I have dreams of the Chiefs drafting a guy like George Pickens. There you go. Yeah, that's they took Sky Moore over George Pickens. Sky Moore. I think it was you just referenced him a second ago, Bo, or maybe it was you, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe not punt coverage.
Right.
And he's made some plays in the Bills game. They went to him on a couple of third downs. He made some big plays, but in the post game interview, Andy Reid kind of threw Sky Moore under the bus on that interception on the first drive. Said he didn't round that route off, and he wasn't where Patrick was expecting him to be or where he was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a work in progress. I don't know that you can make any decisions at wide receiver with him just being a lock as like a productive 2 or even a 1 wide receiver. I don't know if that's – you can't bank that right now. So not saying the guy's going to be a bust. I'm not saying he's not going to be good, but he's just a work in progress. He's a project. And some projects work out and some don't. So, but yeah, George Pickens would be nice, that Chiefs went with McCall Hardman. We were talking about him earlier instead of DK Metcalf. Hindsight's always 20/20, but I really liked DK Metcalf in that draft. And man, if you could imagine DK with Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my God!
Oh shit!
There were hints of that during the off season, and I just remember going like, "Please, please, 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 please."
Oh, dude, I'll send you 10% of my check for cap space, whatever it takes to get DK. But yeah, I don't know. I don't. That's why it's fun to sit here and say, "Oh, they should trade and play armchair GM." But when it comes down to like, these are the decisions you got to make. Like, do you lock a guy up early and save money and gamble? Maybe it's not as big a sample size as you would like. Saw a similar situation with Justin Houston several years ago, right? Like,
yeah.
The Chiefs had a chance to sign him, but they were reluctant and wanted to see more. And then the next thing you know, the dude has 22 sacks in a season, and now he's just got you in a position where you're going to have to pay him whatever he asks for, or he's walking out the door. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. Happy he's playing well. Got Jay's in there. Seems like he agrees with what Zach's saying and with what I'm saying, some time and experience.
For Sky Moore. Yeah, I'd like to see Sky Moore get incorporated a little bit more, maybe a couple more targets, but
yeah, running the wrong route and getting Patrick Mahomes intercepted is not a way to get more playing time, though. I don't think.
Apparently, dropping punts is though.
That's stubborn, bullheaded Andy Reid right there is what that is. And you know what? I get it. Like, wanting to have confidence in guys.
Thanks, John F. Appreciate you, man.
Have a good night, bro.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for joining, John. Good to see you. I'm pretty sure you're probably subscribed already, but if you're not, make sure you got that sub so that you can get in on this Travis Kelce giveaway we're going to do later on in the year at some point. So let's talk about some defensive guys. Let's go real quick while we're still in the offense. Isaiah Pacheco.
Oh, yeah. I'm liking that kid.
Kind of got that tease there Sunday morning when I woke up and was scrolling Twitter and setting my fantasy football lineup that he was going to get the start and he had been getting first team reps. He comes in for one play and then Clyde's back on the field. And I'm kind of glad I was watching the game by myself because I was not happy when I saw 25 back out there. We had the big.
I think we all text each other the same thing at the same time. And it's Clyde.
You mean that Clyde right there?
Yeah, Clyde right there. I mean,
over here, that guy.
Right.
You ran into this. That's what's right here.
Right.
Yeah, that guy.
Well, Nick, there's two guys right there on the right side, though. I mean, but here's the thing, right? Like, that's a third down, if I recall correctly. You just need to get the first down, bro.
But it's second. It says on the field.
Oh, yeah. Second. I'm sorry. I can't see the whole. I don't.
To there. Yeah. He's a fast running back, right? I don't know.
Yeah, and there's all these clips, still shots of Patrick Mahomes pointing the hole out, and he's running the other way. So he had a nice scamper. I want to say it was like, what, a 16 or 18-yard run. But again, that was like a play design that they had been setting up, and it was very well blocked. And I feel like Pacheco or McKinnon would have probably scored on that touchdown the way it was built up, designed, and then blocked. Our man Jay loves Pacheco.
Yeah, we're all fans of him over here. That's for sure.
Yeah,
he just runs so hard. Even when he's getting tripped up, like you can see him like trying to fight the trip. Like you just don't see that out of Clyde. Clyde just says, "Ah, I tripped." There we go.
right.
I love the way I love the way he runs. He finishes every single play. He runs at a 10 out of 10 every time.
Yeah. Yeah, Zach, that could be. I mean, if someone's stealing your reps with the first team during the week and then gets the start, that probably gets your attention. You'd like to think pride and a sense of work ethic would you wouldn't need someone taking your job, but there's Clyde on his touchdown run. Pacheco out-touched Clyde by a couple carries. You think we see him take over more and more of that lead back role as we move forward, Nick?
Yeah, I don't know if the start thing was just was it to motivate Clyde, or was it to reward Pacheco, right? To say, hey dude, like, we're still going to be 50-50, but I'm going to give you the start here, like, because we like what you put a little gas in his tank, maybe. I don't know. I think it was Mitch Schwartz or somebody that said, saying that Pacheco is going to be the starter and then like running Clyde on the second carry, like, was the most Andy Reid thing ever. It was just
completely
Andy Reid would do. It's almost like he's trolling the fans sometimes with some of the things he does. But I mean, I don't think we've seen enough from Pacheco to really tell yet, right? I mean, he had a hell of a return that put us right in position to score, and then we gave the touchdown to Clyde, on the play that I just showed. So like, I do feel like he has a lot of potential, but he's not outplaying CEH so badly that it's just like a no-brainer either, right? So I do like I agree with what you guys are saying. Like when he's running, it's like he's running to like try to punish the people that are hitting him, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to Clyde just kind of almost looks like sometimes like he's running in sand or something, and he gets stopped fairly easily. So yeah, I'm optimistic about Pacheco. I just think that it's still, it's kind of like the quarterback thing, right? Where it's like the guy that's on the bench always seems like to be better than the guy you got starting, when like the guy that's starting isn't that good. But I don't know. I just think we need more reps to see.
Yeah. Jay had a comment there about wanting to see Pacheco with 20, or I'm guessing that's supposed to be 30 carries, but I don't think you're going to see any running back ever.
Yeah, I don't think any of our running backs are going to get 30
but
carries.
maybe you could get 20, or maybe you could get him 16 or 18. I mean, him and Clyde both had what? Like Clyde or Pacheco had 10 and Clyde had 8 or something like that. So
yeah, something like that.
McKinnon had a handful. Maybe you could get Pacheco in 15 to 20 range. I would love to see that. I've been calling for it if you've been watching the show all season. I would love to see. I hate running back by committee, man. Like, I just feel like you always hear like these great running backs say, yeah, you get in a rhythm and you need carries to get in a rhythm. And it just feels like to me, like when you bring a guy in for 2 or 3 or 4 carries and take him out, and you put somebody else in for 2 or 3 or 4 carries, and then you put somebody else in there, I just think it like kills the momentum and the rhythm of a running back. But the Chiefs are never going to be a running team with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid anyway. But yeah, no, I would love to see Pacheco get 15 carries in a game. Just see what he does, or 20. Hell, give him 20.
Right.
Especially if it's late in a game and you're trying to kill clock.
Right.
I'd like to see that. Bo, what do you think we see? Is Pacheco taking this job? Is he going to out-touch? I know no one on here probably watches the Dolphins all that much, but if you play fantasy football, you watch players and trends and snap shares. And Raheem Mostert kind of started the year behind the number 1 running back there in Miami, and then Chase Edmonds. And then slowly over the course of 3 or 4 weeks, He got even with him, and then he had 2 or 3 carries. Now he's getting like 10 carries more a game. You think maybe we see that Pacheco just gradually take over, or do you think they're still going to keep them neck and neck, and we're going to see like Clyde and Pacheco kind of getting even workload?
I think he's making a case to take over that number 1 spot. I mean, part of me thinks that they announced the Pacheco getting all the reps as with the first string was like a mind game for the 49ers because they had just signed McCaffrey and all that stuff. But then, like what we were talking about, it's also to boost all these other guys and like actually get it going. Like, hey, we're actually looking at this guy. We've talked about it ad nauseum on here that we can definitely see that Andy Reid and Bieniemy are just set on CEH. They feel like they've made that investment and they want to keep to it. And now I think they're kind of starting to see the light that, hey, we actually have some other guys that are might be a little bit better. I don't think they're going to split the workload because I mean they still have McKinnon in there, and so like he's such a good little X factor in that group too. That I kind of I don't, like we were saying earlier, I don't see us running the ball 20 to 30 times in a game, man. Like our run game hasn't been established that well to me so far that we do that, and when we do try to do it, it usually puts us in a 3rd and long, and we have to pass our way down the field essentially. I think in this last game we had like 187 yards on 3rd down alone or something like that. So until we establish an actual run game, I'm not worried about like running backs splitting load shares by any means. I just want the one that's going to get in there and do it.
Yeah. And while we're talking about running backs, shout out to Jerick McKinnon. That was a hell of a pickup on 3rd and 20 on that screen pass.
Yeah.
That kept a crucial drive alive that ended in a touchdown that gave the Chiefs some separation. And I tweeted out when it happened. I said, that's a game-winning play right there.
Yep.
Huge play in the game. Little retribution, little revenge for old tired legs there against his former team, the 49ers. But I like that dude on 3rd down. He was blocking Bosa, dude, all day. And I don't think that guy gets enough credit for that. He's tough, man. He gets in there and blocks, and that's what you want from a 3rd down guy. Can catch passes out of the backfield. So good stable of talent there. I mean, I'd like to see a split of McKinnon and Pacheco with Clyde maybe get garbage time at the end of the game or something. But
I wouldn't mind that at all.
Yep.
Yeah, McKinnon's a playmaker. You're right there. He is. He lowers the shoulder, can lower the boom. He's got some speed. He's nifty. He can pass block. He's kind of like one of the unsung heroes of that game. I feel like the receivers and Patrick Mahomes, and rightfully so, got their stuff going. Travis Kelce, you could spend an hour talking about Travis every game. National Tight End Day. The dude was like 1 yard shy or something of 100 on the day. Had a touchdown taken away.
That shot right there, that's the touchdown that was taken away.
Yeah. 1 of 2 touchdowns taken away by the officials. We appreciate that. Still won by 20. Had 2 touchdowns taken off the board. But those 2 guys there are. I hope everybody that's watching this show right now, and even just Chiefs Kingdom in general, everybody just appreciates how special, like what you're watching with those 2 guys right there on your screen is. There haven't been a handful of duos that play the game and get the production that 87 and 15 have had. They've got a mind meld going on. Kelce was hurdling people. Just after that play, I don't know if you noticed, he was, and they're friends, so it was in jest. Obviously, there wasn't. I don't think he was trying to like dog or put down George Kittle, but he did the little whatever that thing George Kittle does whenever he makes a big play. Those guys are friends. They're having fun out there. I got a kick out of that when I saw them do it after the play was over. Great play design on that too. How Andy Reid continues to get Travis Kelce wide open to me is amazing.
It's incredible.
Right.
I mean, you figure like, look, man, like just put 2 people on Travis Kelce all the time. Wherever he goes, just play man with him. Even if you're playing zone the rest of the field, he kind of just leaked him out in the flat. He was wide open and he ran for a 25, 30-yard gain. So huge game from him. Looking forward to when he breaks that record. It's gonna be cool. He's gonna be the best of all time when it's all said and done. Greg Olson.
Easily.
said it in the broadcast, and he was sounding kind of like not apologetic for saying it, but he came out and basically said, when it's all said and done, this dude's going to be known as the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
So,
did you guys notice that Kelsey and Kittle got like pretty much identical stats, both like
Yeah.
with like the same amount of receptions, same amount of yards? Kittle got the one tug, but ours got taken away. But that's crazy on National Tight End Day too.
Didn't count, but he got in there.
Right.
Zach,
right.
how many more years do you think Kelsey plays? He's 33, I think.
He's not showing any signs of slowing down. How many more years does he play, or how many more years is he like a dominant force?
I think he's asking how much longer do you think he's going to play?
5 years? 4 or 5 years? No, we are, Jay. You're right. We're very lucky. I put a tweet out there this week that said, I hope everybody in Chiefs Kingdom takes a minute to ponder the fact that the Earth's is 5 billion years old, and you just happen to be alive at the same time as Patrick Mahomes, and he plays quarterback for your team. Like, the odds of that are astronomical, for lack of a better word. So just appreciate it. Soak it in. I don't know about Jay and some of these other guys, how long you've been watching Chiefs football, how old y'all are, but I remember the Steve Bono days and the days of Elvis Gerback and killer defenses and losing in the first round of the playoffs. And I'm not taking any of this for granted. Every week, I just get excited to watch Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs play football. So
that's why I text you guys every week, because I do get a little complacent with how amazing those two are. Like I get used to it a little bit, but I definitely don't take it for granted. It's just like every week they're putting on a show. They're making highlights that are going to make ESPN. It's those guys are amazing. Right? What's that?
They're just normalizing greatness every week.
Completely.
We got we got John C.
Yeah, good to see you, John C. Thanks for joining in.
Hey,
glad to have you back, man.
Yeah, it's a great time to be a Chiefs fan. So we got Dylan. Kelsey will be the Tom Brady of tight ends.
Yeah.
I mean, the only record that he's going to have a hard time reaching is Tony Gonzalez's, just because Tony Gonzalez started so early, right, with the amount of catches that he has. But I think when it's all said and done, Kelsey's going to be at the top of the tight end mountain.
Right. And Travis Kelsey, Tony Gonzalez was the only competent pass catcher on the Chiefs for about 9 years.
Yeah.
So
that helped.
It's gonna be hard for him to catch him on just because he never got the volume, and he has never, TG never had the competition for catches and volume and targets that Travis Kelsey's had in his career. But most exciting team since Mahomes blew it. Yeah, there you go. He did
completely.
Too. He did. He blew him up.
They're just having fun. Yeah, they are. You can tell too. He's talking about video game. And, just like seeing them on. Did you guys see the NFL mic'd up series for the Week 7 games?
I did.
I haven't watched it yet. No.
Everybody on the sideline, dude. They're just you can tell they are playing a game for a living and getting paid a ridiculous amount of money to do it. So there's no reason they would be all sullen. But yeah, they're having a lot of fun out there, and it shows.
There's a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams that are sullen, though. You know what I mean? That everybody's been in a shitty work environment. I think if you've been in a in the workforce for several years, like what it's like to work at a place that's really fun and work at a place that really sucks. And the Chiefs, that culture that they have there with Andy Reid and Brett Veach and the Clark Hunt is the he's part owner, right? But he's like in charge of the football, of hiring everybody. He's cultivated an environment that people want to come to, and that's it makes it even cooler, right? I mean, it's it's more fun when the players have some personality and stuff. Like the Patriots won a lot of Super Bowls, but it was kind of like nobody had any personality, and the players were all kind of interchangeable. And this is they're built. The Chiefs are built for the big stage, right? We're never gonna be this lucky again. So
Yeah. And I hope those guys are enjoying it because they're younger and you think you're invincible and you just think the good old day, the good times will last forever. You learn that as you get a little older. But I just hope they're loving it. And it's that whole chicken or the egg. What does winning build chemistry, or does chemistry, build winning? It's like you never see one without the other, right? I mean, it's easy to have fun when you're out there winning and you're shredding the number one defense for 500 yards and 44 points. So, talk about the defense for a minute. Switch gears a little bit. Bo had talked about, just looking back and thinking about the defensive performance. It was good. They got turnovers. They got sacks. Frank Clark they got a safety. Jimmy G had the triple crown, the fumble, the interception, and a safety for sack safety in one game. That's hard to do, so hats off to him for that accomplishment. Courtesy of Chris Jones and Frank Clark primarily. Yeah, the defense, they were opportunistic, right? They gave up some yards and they gave up some plays, but in the end, they didn't really give up a whole ton of points, kept the 49ers out of the end zone, made plays at key moments to help kind of, give the offense the ball back with a chance to get the lead and build the lead. I know Bo's just waiting to talk about Nick Bolton.
He's so good.
That's his guy. He was good in this game. I want to say there was a play where they were talking about it, the announcers, and they said, the 49ers are really running the ball well right now, and Christian McCaffrey's doing this thing, and Jeff Wilson's doing it. And right as they said that, man, they hand the ball off, and Nick Bolton comes just busting through the center of the line and just takes the running back down for a tackle for loss. And the guy was like, well, not on that play. Nick Bolton must have had enough talk, must have been able to hear the announcer talk about how bad they were running the ball on him, took it personally. So,
and then the next play, he breaks up the pass to have him go 3 and out. Yeah, that dude's so good. Right. I think he's going to be my next jersey purchase, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be a bad one. He keeps playing like this. He's going to be on the team for a long time. So, anybody else that stood out to you defensive performance? Obviously, Chris Jones. He had a sack. He had some plays, but maybe someone in the secondary or another lineman that kind of caught your eye, Nick?
Really, just it was good to see Frank Clark come up big. Right, he hasn't flashed a lot this year, and that safety was killer. There's another. I sent it to you guys. I didn't put it in the slideshow, but like somebody made a meme out of there's and I thought about Shant Club because Nick calls from Shant Club calls the Chiefs the choke artists. And dude, Frank Clark just literally is squeezing this guy's windpipe from the 49ers as he's going backwards. And it's like me, and then Frank Clark is Monday morning. And so it was good to see, Frank Clark. I know he's been battling some medical issues, right? And to have him. And then did you guys see, I think I sent it to you, his interview after the game? Yes, that right there. Yep.
I can't wait to see what Nick has to say about that.
Yeah. So it was I lost my train of thought, Bo.
Sorry.
You talk about Frank Clark and getting the safety and just making plays, being productive.
Yeah. He's been battling medical issues, and I don't know. It's just good to see him out there. And then his interview after the game, and he was basically like, after losing last week, like we did, he's like, if we want to prove that we got any nuts at all, we got to come out there and show out. It's just he's a pretty real dude, So he's my standout player from the defense.
Yeah, some of the guys that stood out for me, they're talking about it right here in the chat right now, is Justin Ross, number 8. Kept thinking it was Juju running around on defense. It's like, get out of there, Juju. What are you doing?
Right. Carlos Dunlap, because he's number 6 or something or number 8. I still haven't gotten used to the number deal where you can wear any number in any position. It's still I'm like, who in the fuck is that number 8 getting a sack? You know what I mean?
They put forward.
Yeah.
That's a testament to how big Juju is, though. I'm like, dang, Juju's huge. I'm getting him confused with that guy. But
right. No, Juju's a big guy. He's a big dude for sure.
But I was gonna say I really liked what our line was doing. I really like Karlaftis. I think he's such a good addition for being his rookie year, like coming
Yeah,
in and being effective immediately. Really liking what he's doing for our pass rush. If anything, you know what I mean, he's just another distraction to get Chris Jones not double teamed every single play. So like
yeah,
love what the defensive line looks like right now. And then can't say enough good things about Bolton. I won't go too long on a rant on him, but dude, he just has a game every game. Like you can't put the blame on him for any like bad plays. I mean, like he has a bad play or two, but like a game, excuse me, you can't put a bad game on him solely for anything. He always comes out to play and performs at top levels.
yeah. It was a good, fairly solid performance by the defense all around. Be good to see Trent McDuffie gets back. I know that the rookie that's been playing in coverage, a cornerback, Joshua Williams, I think his name is.
Yeah, Williams.
Yeah, he had an interception, but I mean, let's be honest. Any one of the three of us could have intercepted that pass. I mean, Jimmy G threw it up for grabs over the receiver's head. All he had to do was not drop it, really. But hey, the guy made the play. So, it was good to see Frank Clark. And I sent my weekly, man, this guy sucks. Chiefs might have to think about moving on for him or get him off the field. And then he goes out and gets the sack for safety. Frank Clark. Dude, you're gonna have a hard time finding a bigger Frank Clark fan than me. I like the guy. I do. He's got that attitude. He plays with that nastiness, and you see it. A couple of seasons ago, and they beat the Ravens in Baltimore, and Baltimore was talking, and people were saying that Baltimore they're the Chiefs' prime competition. That was the year it was the Ravens that were gonna knock the Chiefs off in the AFC and go to the Super Bowl. And they just whipped them in Baltimore. And they, after the game, he said, "Yeah, we kicked in the door and took they shit." You know what I mean? Like, he was talking a little bit of trash after this game. Talk about, we beat that ass in their house, and they were talking, but they ain't talking now. Like, the dude's got edge to him. He plays on the edge, but he's got an edge, and he plays with an attitude that I like to see. And so I really like Frank Clark. I keep, waiting for him, but I think he's on pace to have 7, 8, 9 sacks. That's a productive year from the guy. You wonder what's going on with the health thing you mentioned, Nick, because it seems like he leaves the game or he misses games and it just says illness. Like, I don't even know what that is, like
I guess he has like a thing where he just starts like throwing up.
Yeah,
he had to have some. I don't know if he had like his gallbladder removed or something, but he said that they've removed parts of his insides that other people have, and every once in a while it flares up and he just gets really sick. So I thought this is my favorite meme of the week with the shark and the seal. So,
man, what timing though for the NFL to suspend him, huh?
Yeah.
Like has one of the games of his season so far, and then they come in and drop the hammer on him. Well, not like the hammer, but 2 games, but still, middle of the season when you're starting to mesh. What do you make of the timing of this all, man? Like, it seems, I don't know, there's a lot of conspiracy out there that the NFL is like, they don't really have like a said process. There was no warning that they were going to do this. There's no heads up or anything. They just levy fines when teams start to do well, or punishments.
Well, so here's what I'll say about the suspension. It sucks, but the guy went out and broke the law and got himself in trouble.
Yeah.
2 games seems pretty light to me, considering he had 2 separate gun charges. Not like he pulled a gun on somebody or fired a gun recklessly, anything like that. He just got caught with a gun that, in a lot of states in the country, wouldn't be a problem. But he was in California. You got to be smarter there. And they waited until Willie Gay came back to suspend him. So I'm kind of going to give a little bit of a nod or a little bit of a thank you to the league for waiting until we got Willie Gay back. Going into the bye week and coming out of the bye week with 2 home games against the Titans and the Jags, those are probably, if there's a 2-game stretch you're going to miss Frank Clark, maybe that's the
It's
best
not the worst
2-game
two
stretch
games, right?
to
Yeah.
miss them in. You know, I
Yeah.
don't. Not that the
So-
Titans or the Jaguars are gimmies, but
Can I just say that it's so weird to me that you get 4 games for breaking a vacuum,
yeah.
but you get arrested with illegal guns twice, and it's 2 games. Like, do they
Yeah,
like
it just.
throw a dice or some shit? Like,
I think it goes to the whole. It was the mother of his child's vacuum, and it's a domestic violence, and he was never charged with hitting her or striking her or putting his hands on her. But they're going to take that stuff more seriously.
yeah,
And
that's
yeah, I mean, I'm not
it's
like
weird.
condoning it. I'm not saying like really. You shouldn't be breaking other people's stuff. And you shouldn't be losing your temper and getting into a fit of rage to where you're breaking the mother of your child's property. But yeah, when you say it to yourself like out loud, like gun charge or property destruction, like it does seem a little off. But there is no criteria that they use for suspensions.
No, it's
It's
all
definitely
yeah,
arbitrary.
yeah, completely.
It's definitely like just like off a whim, whatever they feel like that day seems appropriate. I don't know. What do you guys think, Bo? Couple games for Frank Clark.
Again, like I was alluding to, I'm just suspect of the timing of it all. It's just weird. Like we're talking about Willie Gay's suspension too, like that. They just there's like you said, there's no rhyme or reason to when they come out and want to enforce punishments, and there's no rhyme or reason to like the amount of games that they tend to throw out there too. It seems like they're rolling that Dungeons and Dragons dice 20 sided, like, oh, this guy gets 11 games, this guy only gets 2. Like it's I don't know. It's doesn't make sense to me. I'm almost over trying to understand what the rules are to this game anymore because it seems like it's ever changing every week. So it's unfortunate, but yeah, I'm agree with you. Like he went out and rules are rules, broke the rules. Gotta, serve your time essentially. But
Yeah.
I like what I like the point you brought up. I hadn't really thought about that. Those are 2 great games to actually have them out. Like so they're not gimmies, but it's not against like the Bucks and the Bills, you know what I mean? So like that's huge that it's against those guys coming off of a bye too. When we were talking about last week, Andy Reid's record's ridiculously good anyway. I think he's like 19-3 for his career coming off the bye. So yeah, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, they'll make do, and they miss players kind of come and go with injuries or suspensions or whatever it seems to be, and Chiefs still win. They find a way to win. I mean, if the Chiefs lose to the Titans or the Jaguars, no one's going to be saying, "Oh well, if we would have had Frank Clark, we would have won the game." I don't think anybody's going to say that.
Right.
I do find it a bit funny that Frank Clark and his contract seems to get a lot of hate on social media, especially social media, so you got to take it for what it is. But now that he's suspended, it's like all these people are like, "Oh, he's gonna miss 2 games," and that's Frank. Like now, people like Frank Clark now that he's suspended, But before it was, people that wanted to get rid of the guy. It seemed like, or he was a waste of money. I'll still say the Chiefs don't make that Super Bowl run without Frank Clark, and
No,
it's not my money. It's not my money. I mean, him sacking Ryan Tannehill to send the Chiefs to the Super Bowl is worth every penny of that money that they gave him. Maybe it's reckless. Maybe it makes other years harder. But the dude balled out and cashed in when they brought him in and when the team needed it. And he brought us – it was a big – I mean, he was an integral part of that championship season. So I want to say he tied a singles postseason sack record in those playoffs. So – again, you're going to have a hard time finding a bigger Frank Clark fan than me. Let's hopefully he's turning, I'm not going to say turn a corner, but let's just hopefully he can keep it up, keep the production up. What do you guys think? Is there anything else about this game you want to talk about? I think we kind of broke it down pretty in depth.
Pretty extensively, yeah. I'm good on that game.
Chiefs go into the bye week 5-2. I put out this week's Chiefs Kingdom Live poll. We've got 10 games remaining.
Oops, that's not it.
It's a funny meme. There was also a funny video out there. I think it was on Red Tribe Cinema where Frank Clark, that someone took one of the David Attenborough.
Oh yeah, the narration from one of the animal documentaries.
yeah, what do they call those, Planet Earth or whatever?
Yeah.
It was like Frank Clark was a shark and Jimmy G was a seal, and it was fucking funny. Go check that out if you haven't. I don't remember if I retweeted that link or not, but you should be able to find it. Just go to, like I said, I think it was Red Tribe Cinema. Had that on there. It was pretty funny. Got this week's poll. Chiefs are 5-2 going into the bye week with 10 games remaining in the regular season. What will be their record in those 10 games? Options were 7-3 or worse. I didn't expect anybody to pick 7-3, but I mean I couldn't start any lower than that. So 8-2, 9-1, or 10-0, baby. I was a little disappointed in Chiefs Kingdom. We didn't get some more 10-0s in there, but 8-2 got a pretty. I mean that's got a pretty hefty majority of the votes, over 50% there. What are you guys thinking?
Do any
10?
of these options not get us the number 1 seed?
Ooh, 8-2. That means they would be what? 13-4.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bills right now are sitting at what, 5-1? Because they played one less game because they had a bye week last week.
Yeah.
See what the Bills' schedule is, even though
they don't have a tough schedule. I think probably
yeah, they got tougher schedule than we have though. I think
Miami and Cincinnati, I think, are their 2 hardest games that are left.
Yeah, they got to play the Patriots twice, dude. I mean, the Patriots, they can put together some defense and beat the Bills. True. Division matchup, we talk about that all the time.
Yeah, they got the Packers and the Vikings too. So Bengals,
yeah, Vikings could jump up and nip them. They got to play the Jets twice still, which
Jets are a team this year, which is weird.
They are. Say. Like, I don't know what to think of the Jets. I don't know if they're a playoff team or not, but they're sitting there same record as the Chiefs, 5-2 right now. So they lost Breece Hall, which that sucks for that guy. Rookie man coming in. I mean, he was on track. He was one of the front runners for Rookie of the Year, and he gets hurt and the season's over, and you hate to see that. So let's hope that guy comes back healthy next year and continues his career. But I don't, man, like, I'm liking our guy Jay here. Like, the dude's like reading my mind, man. Like, I don't know what it is.
Laney both
bringing the heat.
Nice.
Jay bringing the heat, no doubt.
Are you guys? If you guys are picking 9, do you guys pick 9-1? I'm assuming too.
That's what I picked. My preseason, I picked us to go 14-3. So I gotta pick 9-1 to stick with that to still be right. So
gotcha. Who do you guys think we get that 1 to? Like a divisional game, or who else? Who are we playing late? The Bengals.
That was the Chargers.
They play at the Bengals and at the Chargers. I'll tell you a game that, and it's so funny, right? We talk about this every year. Before the season starts, you go through it week by week, and you try and figure out what the schedule is going to be, and it's the hardest schedule in however many years with X amount of playoff teams. And we always say, yeah, but you never know.
There we go, John.
There we go, John. I'll take that, obviously.
He's in the 2%, John C is.
Right. We talk about, but there's always teams that are good that you think are going to be good the next year and they fall off. And there's always teams that jump up and are better than they were the year before. That Seahawks game looked like a gimme before the season started. They just went in and smoked the Chargers in LA.
Yeah.
And they're above 500. They got weapons. Geno Smith looks like he's resurrecting his career. Who knows how long that lasts? But
didn't Metcalf get hurt last game?
Yeah, but all of his tests and his MRIs came back negative, so there's no torn ACL or anything like that. He might play this week.
Gotcha.
I don't think he'll play this week. I think with the bye week in 2 weeks for them, they just sit him for a couple of games. But yeah, I'm kind of like going back and forth from 8-2 to 9-1. I like 9-1. I think that's doable. Maybe go when you lose a game on the road to the Bengals or the Chargers, get a revenge game or juice up. Although they've lost J.C. Jackson for the year, the injury curse lives on. I saw someone had a tweet out there. It says, bigger curse, Madden cover, or playing for the Chargers. It seems like every year you see that with, and I'm sure every team has season-ending injuries, but usually for the Chargers, it's in training camp that they lose these guys. So at least they got a third of the season out of J.C. Jackson, but and new Mahomes, Justin Herbert, still has not had a winning record as a starter in the NFL to this day. Preseason camps every year, they're looking up at the Chiefs. Yeah, I want to pick 10-0 and be a homer, man. I think it's doable though. 10-0. What percentage chance do you guys give the Chiefs going 10-0? Bo?
True, dude. That's why I was asking, like, where you guys saw this one loss that we're giving up, because it's just so hard with divisional games and so many at the end.
But we own the division though.
We do, but aside from the Raiders, that, like, you hear this quote, like those teams play us close, and like the Raiders did play us close this year, but they usually don't. But those other two teams do, and we have a knack to play down to their level for some reason and just let them hang around. So I'm 10-0. I'd give us like a 70% chance, maybe. Like I think that's very generous to say 70,
man,
but like
so that's high.
Yeah, I know, right? That's really high.
Like I'm not
that's
sure.
Me trying to be generous. Like I don't know. I'm more on the 9-1. I voted 10-0, but I'm more now like on the 9-1 scale, looking at these teams, and the Bengals looking like they're like the Bengals again from last year, which is kind of scary. Yeah, like we were talking about the Jets, the Seahawks, any given Sunday kind of thing. I've definitely put all the faith in our offense to do that, but it's still yet to see if our O line is going to be consistent enough to make it happen. That's kind of like my concern. If they have another miss week, like they're on 1 week off the next, if they have a miss week, then yeah, not seeing it.
For me, we're 10-0 if our defense can play, right. I mean, like, I know we gave them some credit. They had some big plays. They're giving up a lot of yards, and I think that they're a few fortunate plays away from having given up even more points, right? Like, I mean, Jimmy G interception at the goal line, Josh Allen and team going for it on fourth down at the goal line. Now, credit, they got the stop, but they're giving up a ton of yards, right? And we got some quarterbacks coming. The Seahawks can score a lot of points. You know, Joe Burrow, he's number 2 in the league in passing yards without a number or a top 5 wide receiver, right? Like, I'm kind of concerned that we're going to have to outrun a lot of these teams, because that's how it felt during that 49ers game in the first half. Like, once we got the lead, but then it was like, okay, so are we going to just have to keep scoring, right? I mean, we gave up like 30 points to the Bucks, right? So that's my concern. I picked 9-1, but if we can figure out a few things on defense, like, yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's a lot of teams in the league that can beat us, right? So, you know, you guys are gonna laugh, but like, I'm kind of concerned, like, because like Denver's defense is really, really good, and they always play us really well. Like, and so, they don't have like any answer at quarterback, but like, if they can hold us to a lower point total, like, our defense isn't all that great. So I just see us dropping one game in the last.
The Broncos are scoring like what, 8 points a game?
Yeah,
I mean, even if they can hold us to 20, the Broncos aren't scoring 20 on us.
The Tampa scored 3 against the Panthers, and they scored 30 against us.
But the Buccaneers have Tom Brady and Mike Evans.
Mm-hmm.
And the Broncos don't have, I mean, who do they got? Washed up Ruck Wilson?
Yeah, I'm not saying we're going to lose to the Broncos, but I'm saying that might be a tighter game than we think, because their defense is really good. And I'm just, as I look at the schedule, I'm like, yeah, I see us probably dropping one more game. That's what I realistically think.
I know. But, well, I mean, I get that, but what percentage chance do you have? Where are you giving 10-0? I think that's what I asked Bo.
I'd say 40%, less than a coin flip that we go 10-0.
Yeah, I was going to say 33%, 0.33333%, 1 in
I'm
3.
forever optimistic.
1 in 3 chances. Just like you said, so hard. You don't know what kind of injuries could happen, but it's doable. Oh man, Jay's feeling 10-0. All right, yeah, we see you, Jay.
Yep.
It's doable, man. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they go 10-0. But yeah, I'm gonna hedge my bet. I went 9-1, but really, when you go game by game,
I would love to be more confident that, dude, the Bengals right now just scare me. Like, I still feel like our biggest, like, Achilles heel, so to say, is the youth in our secondary.
right?
And even like we talked before, when we get McDuffie back, it's not like we're adding an all-star veteran back there. It's still a lot of young guys back there, and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow got a connection. That's what I'm worried about looking at these games going forward. Just that game specifically.
Right. Is that right? What Laney put up there? Broncos, the only team in the NFL without a TD.
I'm pretty sure they scored a touchdown.
Wow.
I'll have to fact check that one.
Get the fact checkers out there.
You know what? It's the Broncos. We won't fact check it. You heard it here, folks. Broncos scored a touchdown this year.
Right. So, thanks to everybody who voted in the poll. We were back down to our 38 votes. It seems like we get for every poll. Chiefs Kingdom, when they were pissed last week after that loss against the Bills, I think we got like 150. So,
Yeah.
dude, I don't know what it is, but the losses seem to fire the fans up more than the wins and get them going and get them riled up. Which I guess losing sucks. No one likes losing. I've always said that I hate losing more than I love winning. So I get that a little bit. What game in particular are you guys looking at that's on the balance of the schedule here you're looking forward to seeing? You think maybe it would be the best game? I don't this Sunday night football game against the Titans game to me doesn't I don't think much of the Titans. I think that Seattle game could be a game.
Yeah, I agree.
But then again, I don't know. Seattle's defense isn't all that great, so and maybe Geno Smith comes back to earth a little bit. I don't know that he can continue to play on the level he's been playing at the rest of the season. Got a game against, like you said, a couple games against the Broncos, last game of the year against the Raiders. What games stand out to you guys, Nick?
For me, it's the revenge game against the Bengals that we got coming up.
Yeah,
I want to beat them badly. You know, Scotty and I were at the AFC Championship game that we lost last year to them. Had the game in hand, and I just I felt like in both of those Bengals games that like we were the better team, like far and away, and we just still lost because of dumb things that we did. So that's the one that I'm looking forward to. And, with this offense, I think that we got something for them this year. So what do you think, Bo? What game are you looking forward to?
It's weird. I'm actually kind of looking forward to these Broncos games just because we're like 12-0 or 13-0 against the Broncos right now. I just want to keep seeing that number go up. I just kind of love giving all the Broncos fans I know some shit.
yeah.
But no, I echo your worries about that Bengals game. The Seahawks game should be really fun to see. I'm always worried about a divisional game. Like I said, I always feel like we have a tendency to not play our best or let teams hang around a little bit. So, yeah, I'm actually more. I want to see this Tennessee game. The Tennessee looks like they're kind of catching a little wind, doing something. So, it'd be interesting to see how we do coming off the bye week playing them.
Yeah, we got some payback coming to them too after the way they embarrassed us last year in their stadium. Yeah, Jay, we're talking about retribution. Get some revenge. Exact some revenge against the Bengals. They started slow, but they're heating up, and Joe Burrow's had a couple monster games last couple weeks, bro.
Yeah.
I had the good fortune of playing against him in my fantasy league, one of my leagues last week.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yes, that was your brother too, by the way.
I played against him too in my fantasy league against Ashley. So, jeez.
Yeah, well, that's right. He's won 2 games, and one of them was against me. That's the way that goes. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I think that Seattle game. I don't know. Russ Wilson looks done to me. You get Chris Jones and Frank Clark going after Russell Wilson. That could be a long day for them. But yeah, like I said, that Seahawks game could be a sneaky good game. I might have to go to that one. I went to the Raiders and I went to the Bills game, and I'm trying to pick out a couple more games here this season that I want to go to. New Year's Day game against the Broncos might be a fun one to go to, second to last game of the year. So,
I think that stat you guys are talking about in the chat is the Broncos haven't had a touchdown in the second half or something.
Right.
I think it's one of the halves they haven't scored in.
Bro, like when you look at what the Broncos gave up pick-wise for Russell Wilson, and then the money that they're paying in the next 3 years, like that franchise is they're fucked.
Oh
my
my
God.
Did you guys hear the story of him working out on the plane going over to London? Like he's doing like high knees, running up and down the aisles, and all the players are like, "What is this guy doing?"
He's a cornball. Is our buddy?
I saw that Subway's already pulled his sandwich because of backlash.
Oh, really?
People started putting like all kinds of like creepy imagery behind it, and it just looks so weird. That commercial.
I get the gif. Like there's one that somebody where he's like doing the airplane thing with the sandwich and eating it. They superimpose like a L, like a for a loss, like, and he's like, the internet's undefeated, right?
Dude, he's just.
I love the internet.
What was the Broncos PR team thinking about putting that out on social media? Him standing in front of a green screen with no image on it, like you're just inviting people to. And the Let's Ride. Someone put out there. I don't know if you're on Twitter. Chiefs, Jayhawks, Royals is a pretty good follow for KC Sports.
Mm-hmm.
Someone put on a picture of the Broncos stadium, and it was like 3/4 empty. And you put on there, Broncos country, let's hide. That's so funny because there was nobody at the game. That's really, really good stuff there. Yeah, I'm basking in the Broncos sucking, man. I just love it. I hate the Broncos. I mean, I've talked about this before. My hierarchy of teams I hate. Raiders are at the top, and then I actually hate the Steelers more than the Broncos for some reason. I hate the Steelers. They're dirty. Ben Roethlisberger, their players, Hines Ward. I mean, going back to the Bill Cowher days and Jerome Bettis and that team and their stupid ass helmet with the logo on one side. I don't like the Steelers. But and then Broncos, obviously, right there, number 3. I can't stand the Broncos. They're just they get under my nerves, and so.
There is something just delicious about watching Russell Wilson in his post-game interviews. Just you everything we're saying about him, like how much money he got paid. Can you believe how terrible? Like you could see that all in the back of his head. He's just wearing his emotions on his sleeve. Like, all right, Broncos country. All right,
yeah,
it's just so tasty. Just like,
can't help himself. He has to say it.
I mean, I just
say let's ride, or you just do that for free.
They gave up all those picks and paid him all that money, and then he's got to go out there and talk for 30 minutes after every loss, and he just sucks. And it's it's gotta be awful. Like
the best picture of the season so far, outside of any Chiefs stuff, is just Russell Wilson sitting on the sideline drinking the water with the other player looking at him like they really gave this dude $250 million. Like,
the look on the guy's face, he's just like,
it's the best.
It is. It's really good. It's really good. Yeah, we're looking forward to the rest of the season. We'll be back next Wednesday with a Tennessee Titans preview. We'll know their record, and we'll kind of see. Maybe we get Trent McDuffie back. Maybe we get some rest on the bye week. Get some guys healthy. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
No, I'm good, man.
Go
get some food.
Yeah, get some grub. Be good.
My stomach's
Appreciate everybody that tuned in this week. Again, if you missed it at the top of the show, if you missed it on Twitter, Make sure you're subscribed because we're going to do a Travis Kelce prize pack giveaway when he breaks the all-time 100-yard receiving games record sometime later this season. He's 1 behind Gronk, so 1 to tie and 2 to have sole possession. And when he gets that record, we're going to pick a subscriber and shoot you some Travis Kelce swag. So make sure you're subbed, turn on notifications, click like. We really do appreciate everybody that watches. We do this for fun, and when we started, it was kind of a hobby thing. I never guessed that we would. I mean, we're getting like thousands of views, like now in the month. Like people send us messages that watch over in other countries. It's just crazy. It's a lot of fun, though. I really enjoy doing this, and you all joining in and sending your comments and
really
interacting with
appreciate
us
it.
and
Makes it so much
send us
fun.
tweets. Yeah, makes it a lot of fun. Really enjoy it. Appreciate the comments. Appreciate the likes. Appreciate the subscriptions. We're doing what we can to give a little bit back right now because, like I said last episode, we're not a low budget production. We're a no budget production. So working our way up. Maybe, like I said, we get some sponsors, get some ads going, get some revenue coming in on this thing. We could do some more giveaways. Hook Chiefs Kingdom up a little bit. Go follow us on Twitter too. We do a lot of tweeting in game and just share funny content from all over the web. We've got a Facebook. You can find us on Instagram too. Chiefs Kingdom Live, same name as the channel. Fellas, we'll be back next Wednesday, 7:00 Kingdom time. And until then, let's go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs!